Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the New Vision podcast. We're hosts Christian, and I am joined once again back with the original founder, Jordan.
Yee, what's up, everybody?
We definitely missed you last week, I gotta tell you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But hey, man, so how have you been? What's been on your mind, especially since you kind of took the week off and everything? What's been up?
Really just trying to figure out life.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's good. Take some personal time to kind of...
Yeah, basically taking like a week hiatus.
I get that. It's always good. It's funny, though, because Burnout is a very real thing, but we literally have only done 2 episodes so far. And I mean, I know you and I are constantly working on our own music and everything else going on in our lives, obviously, but it's just weird that Burnout happened so quickly. But I get it. It happens. And
actually, the actual reason why I didn't come on to the last episode was because I wasn't in the right mindset. There was a lot of stuff going on in my life. I was like, you know what? I'm not in the right mindset. I don't want to mess it up for, my co-host and the people listening right now. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break, just kind of step off, let them do their thing.
Sure.
And I got to say, I listened to the last one that you guys did.
Which has not been released
Which has not been released yet, yes.
Or,
spoiler alert.
No, at the time of this recording it hasn't, but yeah.
Exactly. And you guys did a spanking job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Everyone will hear that in the future and be like, wait, what are they? It's already out, but yeah. Anyway,
it's all good.
So I wanted to talk about something that's pretty dope. So there's a lot of course we know all the insanity going on in the world. Everyone, we've talked about that, beating that to death, whatever. There's a lot of I've found there's a lot of great music coming out this year, and
oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know if it's because of the fact that people have been, isolated for so long that they kind of artists are, having more time to work on stuff maybe than they normally would.
Yeah.
But like for example, over the weekend. Literally last Friday, the same day, Machine Gun Kelly came out with his record, Ticket to My Downfall, which was actually really good. It was really good. I'm not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly's normal work, but as a pop punk artist, he did pretty good. He worked on that record with Travis Barker, a whole bunch of other artists as well. Halsey was featured on their song Forget Me Too, and that was pretty good.
Was pretty good.
When I heard Halsey sing, I was like, "Fuck, damn, this girl can rock." I didn't know. I mean, and I've seen her perform live with like All Time Low and a couple other rock bands and stuff. So she's sung like rock music before.
Yeah.
But she normally has that very poppy produced, kind of, that's just her style more than anything. So, but no, she fucking killed it. It was interesting. That, and then the band Waterparks released on the same day they released a song called Low Key as Hell, which is pretty dope. I know you got a chance to listen to that as well. You've gotten to listen to it every fucking time we get in my car.
Yeah, hey man, some of your music that you listen to and all that kind of jazz and jam out. I'm not a big rock kind of indie alternative guy, but listening to some of the music that you listen to, it's not too bad.
Well, what I think is so cool, especially with Waterparks, because you could easily label them as a pop punk band.
Yeah. Which
they hate, especially Austin. They hate being labeled as that because they don't want to be like kind of tied down into one thing.
Yep.
They're very, I guess, genre fluid might be the way to put it, right? I would say kind of the base is rock. But Austin is very into pop and different, which is fine. And they have different hip hop elements and stuff in their music. I mean, you've heard like there's several tracks that Austin raps on and stuff. And I think they're pretty good at combining genres and stuff, which is funny because I remember for years I would always hear people saying that kind of thing about the band 21 Pilots. People would always be like, "Oh yeah, they do like all kinds of genres and stuff." I'm like. I listened to their music and I was like, No, they don't. Like, what are you talking about? They don't. It's very much this kind of like mellow, this kind of like produced. It's not really hip, but it's like a hip hop meets pop kind of,
Yep.
I don't know. It's interesting. Not one of my favorite bands, mind you. But people that like them, good for them. What do you think though about artists kind of either changing their genres altogether or being more genre fluid? Because again, with MGK, he primarily does rap music, and he did for years. I don't know if he's going toward like pop punk now in general, or what that's supposed to be, but if it's just a little side project or if it's what he wants to do moving forward. But what are your thoughts on that, on artists, like the evolution and all that, right?
Well, I mean, each artist or band, has their specific genre, and like, I'm totally fine with that. But also, what I really like to see is all these different artists, kind of exploring, like, let's say, just a rock band, right?
Yeah.
They want to explore. Oh, let's see if we can do some, like, let's put like funk and like R&B together. Let's see if we can do that, and they do it, and it's either like, whoa, like you guys need to go back to your original genre, or most of the time for me, like, oh shoot, this is pretty dope. Like,
yeah, it can work out really well.
Yeah, so like to me, like I don't mind if they stay on their specific genre, but what I really like to see is them going over into different quote-unquote universes.
So you like it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For me, it depends on several things. One is, are you staying true? Well, for one thing, it's, are you staying true to still the core of who you are and who you have been as an artist in the past? Yeah. Like, you can make a different style of music, but are you still portraying kind of the same message and image, and to an extent?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it as well. But also, for me, it's just authenticity. Does the change feel authentic? Does it feel genuine? Does it feel genuine to who the artist is, or does it feel like a cash grab kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the big things I look at, and I get kind of put off when I see an artist. I don't agree with a lot of bands. Once they get successful, people will say, "Oh, they sold out." No, not really. Not necessarily. Like back in the day, people would always say Green Day sold out.
Green Day's pretty good.
I don't think Green Day ever sold out. No. I don't know. Granted, I didn't see, I didn't live through the evolution throughout the 90s and all that to kind of experience that. But, a lot of people think that when they signed, oh God, I can't remember who the label was, but when they signed with a major label and they put out Dookie back in 1994, a lot of people had thought, oh yeah, they sold out and different stuff. And I never got that vibe.
No.
But I think that concept, because you get that with all types of entertainment. You get that with YouTubers today, where people, like, they'll start, they'll have a sponsor, right? And they'll do different projects and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, they sold out. Well, it depends. Is it still on brand for them, or is it completely? As long as it's still on brand, and
exactly.
I don't think that's selling out. That's just reaching success. And the reality too is, there's always going to be things that you don't necessarily like doing that you're going to have to do, and that's true for any job, right? There's always going to be things that don't 100% line up with maybe your vision or who you are as a person or an artist or whatever it may be, that you just kind of have to bite the bullet and deal with it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that I just think that's, I understand a lot of people don't like change in general, right?
That is true.
And
a lot of people don't like change. It's like their whole world collapse if change happens.
Yeah, and
and then a lot of times change is good. Like,
Well, change is inevitable. Whether it's good or bad, it's inevitable. That's the thing. And I'm one of those people where I had a friend years ago ask me, do you like change? And my response was, yes, when it's a change that I was wanting to happen. The reality is I don't like change. Mm-hmm. And most people don't. But, I don't like when you're, you're kind of, you're used to something being some way and you're comfortable with it, you enjoy it being that way.
Yeah.
And then it just changes into something you don't even recognize anymore. To me, but I will say, for me, if it's a drastic change, that's more polarizing, right? Mm-hmm. But what I will say, whatever it is, be it a person, be it a piece of media, whatever it is, in a way, the change is good because it can always bring in new people too. However that, like if you change, we're going to naturally change as people all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to naturally drift away from certain friends and drift toward other friends and all sorts of relationships. It happens in romantic relationships and stuff all the time, especially. But you're always going to change. Mm. You're not going to be stagnant.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I think if you are stagnant and you're not kind of continuously evolving, I mean, in a way, that's kind of a bad thing because you're not growing, right? You're not.
Yeah. So like you said that you initially don't like change. Like that's
not drastic change. I would say that's the big thing.
Okay. So I'm the complete polar opposite. I love change.
But do you like change just for the sake of change?
I don't.
Right. Okay.
I don't. I love it when I'm in different situations. Mm-hmm. Not really. I mean, who loves being in bad situations? Like, yay! I'm about to drown in my car. Like, no, it's terrible.
Right.
But like for example, moving up to a different place for you, that's a big change.
If okay, let's say this for example, because I think this is one that I think is like easy to kind of fixate on, but it's one of those things that it doesn't really matter unless you kind of think about it too much. Let's say your partner has had a specific style about them that you've really liked, be it their hair, their clothing, whatever it is, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And out of the blue, they just completely change their whole style, right?
Yeah.
That would be jarring, right? Would you be... Yeah. Would that be a difficult adjustment for you? Because for me, if I got used to my partner being a specific way, if I got used to her, dressing and looking a certain way, and that just completely changed.
Yeah.
That would be difficult for me to accept.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that, me personally, that's hard for anyone who has a partner or anything. But me, I kind of like it.
Yeah? Because it keeps things interesting?
It actually does. And yes, it is kind of difficult to see it like, whoa, okay, you've had long curly hair, now you have short straight hair.
Right, right.
All that stuff, and
sure.
you dress like this and now you're dressing like this. For me, that would be kind of difficult to kind of adjust to, but for me personally, it would be a quick adjustment. Like, for me, it'd be like for about a week, maybe a week and a half, it'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And then if I'm seeing the person more often,
yeah,
I get used to it. I'm like, okay, maybe I can dig this. And then we hang out even more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can dig this. I like it.
I think what it comes back to for me is ultimately that concept of, is it a change? Basically, is it a change that I like? Is it a change that I wanted to happen? Whereas, like, I know we were just talking about this earlier. I like straight hair. So if my girlfriend naturally had, I guess, more of like a wavy, or she got it curled and whatever, and then she just started straightening it all of a sudden, and I prefer that. I would most likely like that change, right? But if it was the other way around, or if it was like she had, long hair and then I'm just gonna cut it off. Like if it's a change that I wasn't wanting to happen in the first place, then it's very difficult for me to accept. But if it's a change that I wanted to happen, then I can work with that.
Like for me, for example, a big change. I actually used to live in Colorado till I was 7, and then I moved down here to the good old state of Florida. Sure. Up until 2017, and then I moved for school because it was when I was in college. I moved up to the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. Okay. And I was born in the cold, but I was brought to the heat and the extreme disgustingness of moisture and all that crap. I hate Florida. Anyways, so I was reintroduced to cold, and that was a change that I didn't really like because, I was set in my ways here in Florida. I was used to the heat. I was used to sweating all day, every day, day and night. And then up there, it was, I had to adjust my lifestyle. So I love taking cold showers down here. And not really hot showers, it's just, up there, you have to, like the showers up there in our dorm rooms, they only had warm or hot. There was no cold or cool. So I had to adjust taking warm or hot showers.
I don't get people that take cold showers. I can't do it.
I love it. Just slaps you in the face.
I believe that, but I mean, that's
and then
also,
like my clothing style, like I dress very.
I was gonna ask, you're wearing a jacket in like 75-degree weather.
Well, now because in Florida, like, cold front's coming in, and as I was outside today and I was walking up here, man, it was cool outside. Like it was pants and sweater weather. It was fantastic, but and also the clothing up in upstate New York. Yeah, I dress very flamboyant, whatever. I don't wear
I mean, you always do.
But like I don't wear a lot of thick stuff. Like right now,
how many seeds does that have?
Huh?
I'm joking. You said I don't wear a lot of thick stuff. Then how many seeds does that have?
But up there I had to wear 3 pairs of underwear. Sure. 3 pairs of socks. Pair of sweatpants and then 2 snow pants.
Well, it was also winter at that point, right?
It was winter all year round up there.
In New York?
Oh yeah, it was cold every single day.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. Well, not really terrible, but at nights it got extremely. It was ridiculous.
That's kind of cool.
But I had to wear 3 socks, 3 pairs of underwear, sweatpants, 2 snow pants put over that. It was like walking to class. I was like, my arms were up. I really couldn't bend my arms. I mean, I had to basically waddle everywhere. It was really bad. And each time you had to go inside, you had to take off your heavy stuff. And, each time you went outside, you had to put on your... it was a major change to the way that I am and all that kind of stuff. I moved back down here, and then I was like, you know what? I'm never having thick clothing on ever again because I was sick and tired of it.
It's interesting. I was, of course, born and raised here in Florida, and hated it all.
I apologize.
Hated it all 23 years of my life so far.
I apologize again.
Yeah, no, I've been to a few other places. I've only ever been though, like, because when I was very young, I was like, 4 or 5, something like that, maybe 6, or I went to an acting and modeling agency in Texas, and I went to, let's see, I've been to Mexico and a few other, but that was on a cruise, and the Bahamas on a cruise and stuff. I've been to Pennsylvania, which is my mother's side of the family, and stuff like that, and I've been to Tennessee a few times. And in general, I think I prefer weather everywhere except Florida and Mexico. Because it was really... in Mexico... When I went to Mexico, we went to the Cayman Islands. And when we went there... Oh my God. We went and we visited the Mayan Ruins.
Oh, that's cool.
And well, we did learn an interesting fact, by the way, because we learned that 2012 was not, the Mayans didn't believe it was the end of the world, but they believed it was just like a new millennia, right? A new.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it was like in 2012 that we actually went, so it was interesting to.
Yeah.
But also, it was so. When I tell you it was hot, I mean it was unbearably hot. Ugh. I kept trying to find shade in different places to be. Like, I think it's bad here, and it is bad here, but it is. Oh my god, it's so bad there. It was. Ugh. It was so. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. That's one of the many places that I could visit for a little bit, but I really wouldn't want to, stay in. It's funny though, because whenever I tell people about the kind of weather that I like and everything, and the fact that I like hiking and all that stuff, I'm always met with the response, "You should move to California." Like, yeah, I know that. I've wanted to live in California since I was like 10 or something. Like, and that was mainly for music and acting, but I mean, I just. Everything except when the wildfires that are happening right now.
Yeah. It's like you got a wildfire in your backyard.
I like pretty much everything else about Cali, especially the weather and the environment and all that stuff. I would love, and I've never even visited there, but I really, I really want to move there eventually, but I don't have the.
Yeah, I am more of a Georgia guy. Because my cousin lives in Georgia, and he says, it's awesome here, you should come live here. I'm like, well, why should I, what's the reason to move there? And he's like, well, unlike Florida, we actually have seasons.
Oh, that must be great to actually have seasons.
I know, right? Here we have summer, hot, very hot, and just ridiculously hot.
Well, what I've always heard, I like this saying, we have 4 seasons just like everyone else. Ours are a little bit different. We have summer, not summer, almost summer, and fuck, it's still summer. So,
I'm like, I wish I could move up there. Actually, shoot, I don't even have to fly up. I could drive.
You could drive.
Yeah.
I could drive to Cali if I wanted to, but when I do eventually move, I probably will drive because I'd like to have a car that I already have. I don't really want to fly over and then have to get a new car. Yeah. I would. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to make it exactly. It'd be cool to make it a road trip.
It's like one side of the U.S. all with the other side.
Yeah, and a lot of people do it. Especially, I was actually because how I was talking about water parks before. Austin actually is from Texas, and he moved to California a while ago. But a lot of people do it. A lot of people, like one of my favorite musicians who also got their start on YouTube, Dave Days. He's from Pennsylvania, and he moved to California. A lot of people will do that kind of thing. They'll especially in the entertainment business. So those are reasons I've always wanted to go. And I don't know, just like I don't know the environment and the culture and the people. So it just, there's nothing that goes on here. Especially in our area of Florida. People can talk about Miami and all that good stuff all they want.
Yo, Miami is way too much.
Yeah? Have you been? I've never been to Miami.
I have. And I'm a city guy.
Yeah, I am too.
I am hopping with the city folk. But Miami is too much. Even for a people person, it's too much.
Yeah.
A really good friend of mine, he's country. He lives out in the boondocks. Country, and he's like,
gross.
Huh?
I said gross.
And he's like to me and a couple of our other friends, and this was in high school, and he's like, bro, y'all, me and my sister are gonna go down to Miami for a couple of weeks, go visit our grandma and all that, and we're like, you sure you want to, go down there for a week? And he's like, well, what do you mean? And we're like, Miami's too much, man. For a country guy like you, it's gonna be way too much. He's like, I can do it. Why is it too much? And we're like, it's too much. There's a lot of buildings. There's a lot of places. There's a lot of people. A lot of stuff goes on down there. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'm going, whatever. And we're like, okay, dude. Well, we'll see you in a week or two, whatever. Hopefully you make it back safe. And he came back a week later. Yo, the circles underneath his eyes were insane. He looked like he was like just drugged. Like his eyes were. He looked a mess. It was bad. Like he looked like a crack baby.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, and we're like, bro, you look terrible. And he's like, no, man, I look great. And we're like, dude, you look like you need to go to the hospital. And he did, just to get checked up or whatever. And he came back the next day. He's like, yeah, the doctor said I had way too much alcohol in my system. And we're like, so you drink a lot of alcohol? He's like, dude, I took so many shots and drank so much vodka. We're like, dude, you need to chill. Go back to the country. Go back to your cabin, man. And he actually did live in a cabin. It was pretty nice, actually. It was a very nice cabin.
He really was just trying to experience farm life, huh?
But, dude, he was bad. Like I said, he looked like a crack baby.
All right, well.
We're like, ooh.
Did he have... Because I have...
it was insane.
I have family that's very country. And they're really into moonshine.
Oh, jeez. They have a lot of that down there.
Have you ever had moonshine?
I took it a sip, and I literally, as soon as it touched my tongue, I was like,
it's really strong.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this is.
Yeah, but I have heard though the reason that it's illegal in most states and shit.
Even the smell was too much.
Oh, it's horrible. Ugh. But I have heard the reason that it's illegal is because it's so hard to tell what the alcohol level is, so they can't regulate that and sell that in like bottles and say, oh, this is 0.8.
Yeah.
This is always 100% alcohol. just know that.
All you people out there who drink moonshine.
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all do it.
Good on you.
It's.
I mean, listen, there's people that'll drink like vodka and tequila and shit like that straight, and like more power to them. But like me, anything that I'm drinking or eating, I want it to actually taste good. Not gonna. I like mixing drinks, right? But I can't. I don't do any of that shit straight up. I'm not.
Yeah.
I could do like shot. I can do shots with a chaser, right?
Yeah.
Or like Jello shots. Those are always good. But no. I just can't do
it's too
like
much.
Straight out of the bottle. I just can't do whiskey and shit like that.
Like I said, y'all who do straight up bottles and moonshine, like I don't know how y'all do it, but
the interesting thing about that,
kudos to y'all.
There's these family members that I'm talking about here. So they actually, I can't remember. I think it was Georgia. If I remember, it was Georgia that they went to, and they came back and they brought all these like different they have different flavors of moonshine. They had like this Mountain Dew flavored and this like cake flavor, all this different weird shit.
That sounds terrible.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? I think they offered me moonshine. I was like, no, I'm just gonna have some wine.
Yeah.
You have like, I like wine, but like,
jeez.
Something. So on the first podcast, we actually
oh yeah, that's right.
We talked about our drink preferences. And everyone, when they first heard that, were like, "Oh, they're gonna talk about like alcoholic drinks." We talked about fucking water and tea. So I'm curious, and I'm sure many others are too now. Do you have a drink of choice as far as alcohol goes? I know you're not much of a drinker, but
I mean, I remember one time I took a sip of Budweiser
beer. Okay.
Yeah, it was all right. And then one of my friends introduced me, and I think we had in the group chat. Actually, we did have it in the group chat. It's the Red Apple, or Orchard.
What is it, a cider or something? Oh shit! Yeah.
That stuff was banging.
Yeah.
That stuff was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
Are you talking about Angry Orchard?
No,
Orchard?
sorry. It was Wicked. It was
Wicked.
Like
okay.
It was like apple something. Wicked Orchard.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that stuff was good.
See, I'm not a fan of. It's funny because I like fruity drinks, but I don't like fruity beers. When I started working at my current job, they used to do this for years until someone complained about it. I just happened to be there for the last year that they did this for Oktoberfest, They got a bunch of beers, but it was all Samuel Adams, which is fine.
My dad loves Samuel
Adams. But it was all
Adams.
These like really fruity kind of beers that I tried, and I was like, I can't have. I don't like this. I like Miller Lite. I like Bud. I like a lot of light beers, but I like Stella. I've tried Guinness. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of darker drinks in general, but that's just me. But my go-to, I think I might have mentioned this the first time too, but it really depends on what I'm eating. So if I'm having like a fancier dinner, generally I'll prefer like a nice red wine.
Yeah.
I do like white wine here and there too.
I like red wine.
I prefer red wine, don't get me wrong, but I do like white wine as well.
What was that wine that you had here that one time that I was sipping on?
The one that I get this. Oh, it's such like a mom wine kind of thing. But I can never remember what it's fucking called. I'm gonna search for it while I'm talking about it. But you can get it at any grocery store and shit like that. It's blackberry. The kind specifically that I had that we drank last time you were here.
Yeah, that stuff was pretty good.
What I ordered while we were out though was just a general Pinot. I don't know how these fucking. I'm not a fucking wine snob and shit. Okay, I don't know how that's just pronounced. So if anyone's gonna be like, oh, I don't care. Okay, I just know it tastes good.
Oh man.
Some people get really
offended.
Well, they have a pride to it, like what you drink, what you call it, or like snobs and stuff. But an interesting thing was found out that wine snobs, most of, if not all of them, are actually faking it. There was a bit about it on. You're familiar with the show Adam Ruins Everything, right?
A little bit, yeah.
So there was actually a bit about it on that where the whole concept of how that's bullshit. How it's like people who act like, oh yes, this you can really taste. It's just a whole bunch of bullshit. Like that's
man, you lying right out of your teeth.
But I'm sure I have a picture of this somewhere. I gotta find out. Like I said, it comes in this glass bottle and it has this like long.
Okay.
I can never remember what it's fucking called.
Yeah. So in conclusion, one of my go-to drink is that angry red orchard beer. I don't even know what it's called.
We're gonna pronounce everything wrong, and people are just gonna be like, "You fucking idiots."
Yeah. Well, in the comments.
Yeah.
Put down the right.
Go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah. Tell us.
Tell us how fucking wrong we are about wine, and I'll tell you how much I don't care. I don't know. I mean, I care enough, but I don't hold like a pride to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand it because, like, when people pronounce things just blatantly wrong, like when people, for example, I found it. It's called Arbor Mist. Specifically, it's what we had last time. It's Arbor Mist Merlot, blackberry, and again, it's just you can get it at any liquor store, any grocery store, anything, but. I enjoy it, like I said, I enjoy what I enjoy, and that's all there is to it. Yeah. But people that pronounce things completely, like people that pronounce Mario, you know what I mean?
Come on, it's Mario.
But here's the thing.
Come on, people.
But here's the thing. That's just an accent thing, right? People who pronounce it that way, that's just how they fucking say it.
You're right.
They're not doing it intentionally, as much as it annoys me.
Mario.
Yeah, they say Mario, but
Mario. It's Mario, man. What you doing?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, pronunciations and accents and all that. Those.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I get kind of tripped up on pronunciations, all that kind of stuff.
Things like, so, for example, like tomato, potato. Yeah. Tomato, for example, that's generally an English pronunciation of saying tomato. They'll say like tomato soup, or something like that instead of tomato. The one thing I never understood is, like marinara sauce on pizza, right? A lot of people will refer to that as red sauce. And I never understood that. I guess they refer to Alfredo as white sauce, but generally they still refer to Alfredo sauce as Alfredo sauce. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you going to refer to them by their colors or are you not? Like, Yeah. Jesus. I don't know.
I'm gonna have some noodles with some red sauce.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alfredo sauce is pretty jamming though.
It is.
I prefer that over red sauce. For all you people out there who just say the sauces by their color.
I don't think. I don't know. It's I don't know. Whatever, to each their own. People.
Oh yeah, like
whatever.
If you're brought up saying, "Oh, this is red sauce," then it's red sauce. If you're brought up saying it's marinara.
You know what? And it's funny. I definitely can't fault them for that because I'll tell you a story. So, I grew up, I guess, having a lot of terms for foods and drinks and stuff that are not what they actually are. So, like, when I was a child, and granted, I was a child at the time, but still, I was like 5 or 6. I was at this restaurant with my parents, and my mom would always order eggs over easy.
Oh, I remember you telling me
this. I did, and she would refer to them as dippy eggs because she would take her toast and she would dip them in the yolk, right?
Yeah.
So I order eggs and again, I'm like 4 or 5, 6, something like that, right? So I order eggs. They're like, and how would you like them? And I say, dippy.
Dippy?
What the fuck?
What are you doing, man?
What the hell what the fuck does that mean, right?
Dippy eggs.
And I have a few more funny things.
Jeez.
So when I was, and I was too old for this it shouldn't have been a thing, but I was about 10 or 11, probably 10, maybe even 9, somewhere around there, right? Late elementary school.
Yeah.
We're in PE class.
Oh, jeez.
This person is drinking a Gatorade.
Yeah.
They're cooling off. They're drinking some Gatorade. Now, my mother would always put, and she still does this, she puts tea in Gatorade bottles. She would always get Gatorade bottles and give them to me or my dad to drink, and we'd drink the Gatorade, and she'd use them to put her tea in. That's just how she would store her tea, because she would brew it herself and everything, and
cool.
And that, whatever. So I grew up knowing, and I still, when I think of those bottles, I don't think of them as Gatorade bottles. I think of them as tea bottles. So I asked this kid,
tea bottles,
what are you drinking there? And he's like, Gatorade, and even had the Gatorade label on it. He's like, Gatorade? I'm like, why are you drinking Gatorade out of a tea bottle? And he was like, what? So, it's interesting how those things work. That, and then the last one I have is, this is a common one everyone does, right? But it's like, waiter or waitress asks you, oh, would you like soup or salad? Well, I don't know, that sounds like a lot of salad. But, when I was first asked, I was legitimately just like, sure. And they're like, no, so would you like soup or salad? Yes, sure, I'll take that. And then they're like, no, soup or salad. I'm like, oh, okay.
Now the light bulb goes on.
Because, and to be fair, that to an extent has to do with how we talk and how we kind of slur our words a little bit.
Super salad.
Oftentimes we don't say or, we say
Soup first, yeah.
So would you like soup or salad? Soup or salad. Okay, sounds like a lot, but sure. I guess I'll have a super salad. Yeah, exactly.
No. Soup or salad.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
But it's interesting how, what you, what you grew up around, what you're taught, and different things, how much your perspective changes everything. Because, in that instance,
I was terrible as a little kid eating stuff.
Yeah?
Story time.
Oh boy, here we go.
So when I was I was a kid. I was 5, maybe 6, maybe 4. Anyways, so the Flintstone gummy vitamins?
Yeah, of course.
I was convinced that if I took those, they would get lodged in my throat.
Really?
And I would die. I would choke on them and just die.
Huh.
And my mom was like, they're not going to kill you.
Yeah.
You chew them. They're gummies. You chew them, you just chew them, okay? And I'm telling you, I was convinced that, I would chew them or swallow them if I didn't want to chew them, and they'd get lodged in my throat, and I'd die. And so my mom would be like, okay, all right. So she would like get like a milkshake blender and put like a bunch of milkshake stuff like ice cream, all that kind of stuff. And then she'd take that one gummy, put it in the blender. It'd all be blended up, and that's how I take my vitamins.
Well, I actually have a similar story to that because I never had a problem with vitamins like that, but until I was about 16, I didn't know how to swallow pills. So anytime I had a pill, anytime I would get medication that was in pill form, I would have to, or more often my mother would crush up my pill and like put it with like either like cinnamon or powdered sugar or some shit, and I would have to just take a spoonful of that. And when I was about 15 or 16, I started going on Accutane, which is it's a pill that you take to make acne subside, because that was I had a problem with acne for a while. A lot of people do.
How it is. Pizza boy.
And, you were
it was bad. And then I think once I hit like 18, I think it was 18. It just was all gone. I was
all right, well, fuck you too.
Thank you.
but I So I took this, and I eventually just kind of taught myself how to take the damn pill. Yeah. And ever since then, I'm so glad I learned how to swallow pills, because it's been so good ever since. But it was tough. It was tough for a long time to be able to do that. But I wanted to delve in a little bit on the concept of how you perceive things, right? Because you see something like like you hear like for me, I was raised believing that you put tea in Gatorade bottles, and those are tea bottles, right? Yeah. So to me, they'll always be tea bottles. That's just what they are. But to anybody else, that's just completely wrong. But that's my reality, because
that was my reality too.
This kind of gets into the idea that how you perceive things, how you view the world, that is true for you. That is, your perspective is your reality. Mm-hmm. And that comes into play a lot when it comes to that comes into play with thinking patterns. And if you're going to fixate on negative patterns, or if you're going to fixate on positive ones, how you view things, how you perceive things in terms of mental health and everything else, that is reality. Which is, I hate when people say you choose to be happy, because I don't think that's necessarily true, but you do choose to an extent how you perceive situations. And I think because even that whole change concept, right? While I like that MGK has gone in a very pop punk direction, I like that for me. But if his fans that don't like rock music really like his rap, I understand what that feels like, to feel alienated by your favorite artist or what have you, and I hate it. So, but I don't know. It's interesting though, because that concept, just truthfully, how you perceive yourself and the world around you, it's just how it is. It's kind of like, so I heard about this thing recently. Are you familiar with I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this, the Bader Meinhof phenomenon?
What's that?
So
that sounds like a disease. Jeez.
So basically, it's the idea that you notice something new once it's new to you. So it's kind of where, like, you ever notice if you are interested in a specific car, right? You're thinking about buying a car. You're going to start seeing that car everywhere, because your mind is fixating on that, and our mind looks for patterns and all these different things it can recognize naturally. So, or it's the same thing if you buy a car. Yeah. You ever realize you buy a car, and as soon as you buy it, you take it off the lot, you start seeing your car everywhere.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, that's very much part of the I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Bader or Batter, but I'm going to go with Batter Meinhof phenomenon.
Batter Meinhof.
Yeah, so it can be a word, a breed of dog, a particular type of house, whatever. You're just aware of it's all over the place. And the reality is, more of it didn't appear. It's just that you start recognizing what's already there.
Yeah.
So,
like for me, within the past week, actually last week, I literally saw my car every day. Mm-hmm. Obviously another one of my car
right
every day,
mm-hmm.
like morning and afternoon. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
this is weird.
Because the more you pay attention to something, the more it's going to occur. In your mind, the more you're going to recognize it. It's I don't know. The way the mind works is just fascinating. To be honest with you, it really is. So,
just like peas with ketchup.
What now?
So how you perceive things and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
When I was a little kid, my mom and dad told me and my brother, if you're gonna eat, and obviously if you're gonna eat, food, you're gonna have a choice of vegetables to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they laid out all the vegetables known to mankind in front of us, and they're like, all right, choose which vegetable that you want for dinner. And my brother chose, I think, like cauliflower or broccoli.
Those are good.
And I chose peas.
I don't like peas.
And
I did when I was younger, though. And
I had peas, but the first time I had a hot, steamy bowl of peas for dinner. Well, not just for dinner, but it was part of the side for dinner.
Right.
I was like, this doesn't look right. And my mom, they're like, obviously eating dinner with us. They're like, what are you talking about? It's peas. It's a vegetable. Eat it. I'm like, no. These peas have to have something on them. I feel like they're missing something. And my parents are just befuddled. They're like, what? And I'm like, I'll show you what I mean. I went over to the fridge and I opened up the fridge. I'm looking at the condiments.
Right.
Mustard, mayo, ketchup, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this was what I thought was supposed to be on peas. I take the ketchup bottle, start squeezing ketchup on the peas, and I mix it together. I eat a spoonful of peas with ketchup mixed up. I'm like, this is good.
Ketchup is...
And my mom and dad are like, that's so nasty. I'm like, but it's good.
Well, it's funny you say that, because ketchup is, and I think especially for us Americans, ketchup is very much like kind of the go-to thing to... Well, okay, real quick, by the way, because you mentioned catsup. So this goes back into that brand distortion thing we were talking about a few months ago. Wow, a few episodes ago, where the Kleenex and tissues or ketchup is another one too, because once Heinz ketchup became the popular type of catsup, everyone started referring to all catsup as ketchup. So it's just interesting how those things work too. But we talked about that before. I just wanted to mention that catsup is similar,
as you were saying.
But ketchup is kind of the go-to thing to add flavor to things for a lot. Especially for kids, right? They'll put ketchup on everything.
Bro, I slathered all those peas in ketchup. It was.
The funny thing is, apparently, when I was a child, this whole fucking episode is just about like what we ate when we were kids or whatever, like how we were when we were kids and shit.
I promise it's going to be more than that.
Yeah, no, it is. But according to my mom, at least, I used to love peas, and I would apparently I would say like I'd say like. I don't know. I'd ask for like broccoli and peas, and apparently I would just eat up peas a lot. Now I can't stand peas. I don't know why. I'm not a fan. But a lot of people apparently don't like broccoli. I like broccoli. I remember being in high school.
I hate cauliflower.
I like cauliflower too. But I remember being in middle school and high school. I would get those kind of foods going through the lunch. I would get broccoli and stuff going through the lunch line. People were like, "Oh, you got broccoli," and then they'd get peas. I'm like, "Oh, you got peas? Yeah. Fuck you," And then another thing, I don't like carrot. I'm not. Well, carrots uncooked for the most part.
Ooh, I like them when they're fridged and you bite one and that
or maybe
crack.
Maybe I'm thinking of cooked. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just not something about carrots I'm not a big fan of.
Like when I bite into a carrot and I hear that snap, or that crack, ooh, that's like the best. Cause like for me, I know that's like the peak. See, I hate steamed vegetables.
Oh, I like them. I prefer steamed vegetables. But we talked about this too.
Like it's like the carrots are soggy, the broccoli's soggy, just everything's soggy.
I know we talked about this. You and I were talking about this last week too. I really like steak salad. I've gotten into ordering steak salads a lot when I go out. And normally I'll have leftovers because I don't eat much anyway. So I'll always have leftovers when I take them. When I take steak salad home, I'll put the whole thing in the microwave and heat it up because I don't give a fuck. I still prefer I prefer all of my food warm, even if it's salad, even if it's vegetables.
Yeah, that's
just how
strange.
I am.
Warm salad.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
That's something new.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, whatever you like.
Well, when I was
it's peas and ketchup. That's
peas
weird.
and ketchup. That's it, man. Well, when I was a young boy, when I was last week when I was with Logan and Patrick, I mentioned a little bit about my veganism journey, and I would take just mixed vegetables. Put them in the microwave, mix them up with garlic and maybe some salt and a few other things to spice it up a bit. And that was my, that's what I like steamed vegetables. Yeah. Not all the time every day, but I do like steamed vegetables.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack time.
Yeah, I do.
Munchy time.
What did you say? Lunchy time?
Munchy time.
Munchy time.
Or snacky time.
Snacky time. Munchy time. I don't know. I don't snack much. Do you?
Some things. Like, remember one time I was snacking for a whole day. No breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Just snacking those veggie fries.
Do you mean the veggie straws?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
veggies.
Those are so,
Those taste like McDonald's French fries for some reason.
Well, the reality is they're primarily potato. They're not really that healthy for you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something I do like, though. I like blue corn chips a lot. I've gotten into having those a lot. Those are pretty good. But speaking of chips, so I mentioned this to you before at one point. Not on record or anything.
Yeah.
We're friends. We hang out all the time. Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
But
yeah, we cool.
But so there's this thing in a lot of sitcoms where they'll make their own fake brands of products. Yeah. One of them being Lex potato chips. Lex. It's like Lay's, but it's LETS potato chips. And I always loved that. To me, that always made like that little thing always made it seem like this is a whole nother world, a whole nother universe. Yeah. Because you had like. And I remember seeing it all the time on the live action Nick shows growing up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, iCarly, all these. Because they had like. Was it. Because the biggest thing I remember is when they started implementing Apple products. They had laptops and phones and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't an apple, but it was a pear.
Yeah.
You know? And I just. That's such a clever way, I think, to get around. Having to pay Apple, for example, you know, but they would do all kinds of things like that with
Moca Cola for Drake and Josh.
Moca Cola, that's what it was called. Moca Cola. Thank you.
I
forgot what it was called. Yes, you're right.
Moca Cola.
I find that fascinating.
It's their own little universe, you know.
It is. It's pretty cool. I do like it. It's dope. It's dope.
Yeah, Moca Cola. And then like their little Game Boy systems were like something.
Oh yeah, they did. I
forgot what the gaming system was.
Well, I remember there was an episode where Megan had like a Tamagotchi.
Yeah,
but it wasn't, or a Neopet, but it wasn't called that. It was. I think she called it. Did she call it a Geopet? Like GEO as in Earth pet? Was that it?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm not. But I will tell you, speaking of pets, so There's this thing on, especially I think if you're like really into animals and stuff, you'll see. So there's a lot of scams online, right? Of course, yeah. There's a lot of scams online. There's these people that have pictures and videos of a real puppy running around and being a puppy and doing shit. And they try to sell it off to. Oh, we've talked about this before too.
Oh, have we?
They try to sell it off to people, and they say, "Oh, you can buy your own. This is an animatronic robotic dog that you can buy." Yeah,
gotcha. I thought this was going like down a dark road.
Oh God, no, no, hopefully not. But no, it's these lifelike, massive air quotes around lifelike puppy, and people buy it. And they get scammed, and they're like, "Oh, I thought this was gonna be." Wait, why the fuck did you think that was gonna be real? You couldn't tell from the images and the video that it was a fake dog. I'm sorry, that it was a real dog.
Yeah.
Like people do this shit, and it's
a fake robot dog. They just come on now.
It's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know. Online scams. What's sad to me though about online scams they're not going to get someone like you or me, right? Because I don't think generally they're going to get younger people that are aware of that stuff.
Yeah.
But the older crowd,
that
isn't as aware.
The older crowd gets so scammed all the time. It's pretty sad, actually.
I feel bad for them because there's these assholes that are just, taking such advantage of these people.
It's actually pretty sick.
It's
not gonna
completely sick. Yeah, it's absolutely horrible.
You're taking advantage of a 93-year-old lady, and she can't do anything about it.
It's disgusting. But I will tell you on a, I guess bittersweet note about dogs, about animals and shit. I had
such a good boy.
So this Monday evening, I was going to my car. I think I was getting ready to go to the gym or something, but I was going out. I was doing something, and this dog comes running up to me. His tongue's all hanging out. He's all happy and everything. I'm like, I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, oh, hey boy, and he stops and starts kind of jumping on me a little bit, and I get him, and I start petting him and all that, and I'm kind of. Keeping him by my side, almost expecting someone to be coming in the
hey, that's
same
my
direction.
dog.
Right,
okay,
something like that. Yeah. And no one comes. So I start walking around my complex a little bit. I'm like, oh, maybe they're around. They're in, whatever. The dog follows me for a bit and everything, and we find out. I don't see anyone. I see people, passing trucks and all these different things. Like, hey, is this your dog? No. People asking me the same thing. Hey, is that your dog? I'm like, well, okay.
Really?
If I have it, wouldn't it be likely that it is my dog? But if it's not my dog, I'm going to ask you or someone else if it, it's just a weird...
Come on, people, really?
So, but luckily, with the help of some neighbors, I was able to... I borrowed their leash... And they have a dog, so I borrowed their some dog food and water and put it out for them all.
Yeah.
I held it for a bit while I tried to get in contact with animal services.
The good kind.
Oh yeah, no, no kill shit.
That's terrible.
So, but I tried getting in contact with them, and it was so difficult. One of the things I was told to do was, try calling your local sheriff's office. So I did, and these guys told me, they were like. Guy was so fucking unhelpful, but he tells me, he says, oh, well, we can't really do anything because it's not sick, or because it's and I tell him, because he's giving me all this, he's like, well, is it violent? I'm like, no, it's not violent. He's a very good boy. He's very happy and stuff. And he's like, well, is he sick? I'm like, well, he doesn't, not that I can tell, but he can't exactly tell me, He can't exactly tell me, oh, I'm sick, He's like, well, we can't really do anything. And I'm like, well, so what do? I don't really know. I'm like, all right, well, thanks
a lot, man.
thanks for fuck all.
Yeah.
And so, I kept calling around to all these different places and shit and everything. Eventually, no one was of any help. And eventually what I had to do was I took him with me. I took him upstairs with me, which I felt bad taking him upstairs because he was so energetic and excited. that he was trying to run up the stairs, and I had to like keep pulling him back with with the collar, and I was like choking him a little bit. And when he got upstairs, he was all like, I was like, I'm sorry, boy, but so I brought him inside. He was such a good boy. He was such a good. He went and he roamed around for a little bit, and I did put out food and water for him that I borrowed from the neighbor. Yeah. But he didn't eat any of it. He didn't drink anything. He didn't do anything. But fine, whatever, But he was just such a good boy. He was such a. I kept him for the night, and I don't have pets. I don't really want pets. I couldn't really afford a pet, especially a dog, where I'm living, because you got to pay the pet fee, and then you got to pay everything to take care of it. Everything. So, but I was able to get in contact with animal services the next day, and I did get somebody that was able to pick him up, and they told me, they're like, oh yeah, I've picked this dog up before. He lives in a trailer, and the owners aren't really that responsible. I'm like, well, that's great. So I'm hoping that he is going to. They said they're going to look for a better home for him, and I'm hoping that he'll get that. I was so impressed because he barked a few times throughout the night and throughout in the early morning and stuff, but he was I almost didn't know he was there for the most part. He was such a good boy. He followed me around a little bit at first, and but yeah, he just he laid on my couch. He laid on my recliner, my reclining chair that I have, and I was almost concerned that when I was going to wake up, that was going to be something I had to clean up. He didn't leave a mess. He didn't chew anything up. He was so well behaved.
Good boy.
He was such a good boy, and I really hope that he finds a good home, because truthfully, as cheesy as it is to say, animals are people too. Animals are, and they deserve, I think, to have a loving home and different things like that, right? Yeah. I do think that, yeah. So it was my good deed for the week, though, I guess, or the day, or what have you. It was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. But I was even telling these people on the phone, I'm like, I don't really want them to stay with me. I'm just trying to do the right thing, help out and all that. And everyone was just so unhelpful. But luckily, I was able to get him.
Yeah, man.
Get him out,
good.
And I hope the best for him. I don't know his name. I didn't give him a name.
Sean.
I think his name might have been Max, which is like the most generic dog name ever.
It really is.
But even still,
he's Sean to me.
He's Sean. You gave him a name.
I did,
dude. You can't. Okay, real quick.
No, actually, I just gave him that name right now. Literally, 2 seconds ago.
Because you can't give if you name something, you're gonna want to keep it.
Yeah.
Even more. So
It literally is true.
Like I said, I don't want a dog anyway, but even if I did, I would not name this one, because I wouldn't have called him like, oh hey, I don't know, buddy, yeah, whatever, right. Because no, I knew I was gonna have to give him up. I'm not gonna. But and real quick, by the way, did you know it is illegal if you find an animal in the state of Florida? If you find an animal, you cannot rehome that animal. You can't take it in with. I mean, you can take it in with you and look while you're looking for the owner, but you have to try looking for the owner for 30 days before you can officially rehome it and it be yours. That's even if it's stray. So that's interesting how that works. But yeah, he didn't have a collar or anything on him. I think the guy did find a chip, so that's good. Something. But take care of your animals, guys.
Hopefully he finds a better home.
If you have what I will say though, and this is true for kids and anything that you own, right? If you're going to own something, whatever it may be, a pet, but especially if it's a living thing like a pet or a child, fucking take care of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just don't have it, because it doesn't deserve a life where it's neglected or it's treated unfair. Because I'm just glad this dog wasn't abused or anything, right? There are people that abuse their animals, and they're the scum of the earth. But
they really are. They're all the worst.
Animal and child. Well, I don't think any of our listeners are animals and child abusers.
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, no, they are. Worst. Animals and child abusers are some of the lowest people in the world to me. Especially because, this is a quick thing, but statistically, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it's been found that when a child shows signs of abusing bugs or animals or whatever, something like that, oftentimes they're gonna grow up to be a serial killer, of some sort. So that's a nice little happy note to end us on, isn't it? But no, in all honesty, take care of your pets, take care of your kids, take care of that shit.
For real.
And just be good to people of all kinds. I think there's way too much negativity and stuff in the world all the time, and
there really is.
If what you're doing, whatever that may be, is putting more negativity out, just stop and do something that's going to put positivity out instead.
Or if you're not going to put positivity out, just
don't do it.
Just don't do anything.
Don't do it. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my little cheesy happy.
No, man, it's good. It's good.
You got anything else to say before we let them go for the day? Whatever. I almost imagine, I say we let them go for the day, but there's going to be people, I know because I do this kind of thing when I find this stuff. There's going to be people that are literally just binging show after show, and I'm like,
okay.
So until the next one, whatever that is.
No. Actually, I do have something to say. I'm happy to be back on again.
Happy to have you, truthfully.
Thank you.
We really did miss you last week. I'm hoping, I really want all four of us to be able to do this at some point, and I think we will. It's going to be a lot of people, it's going to be a lot of voices and shit, but it's going to be dope. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Happy to be back on again. I am ready to rumble.
Hell yeah. So I guess that's all for us for right now. So thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you liked it. If you don't, I hope you find something you do like. As always, of course, let us know what you think. Leave some comments below. Talk to us. Talk about whatever the fuck's on your mind. If you have anything you'd like us to talk about, that's fine. Whatever. I'm down.
Please, because you'd be helping us with ideas.
Any questions you want to ask? Anything. I have a list of shit to talk about, but fuck it.
Literally.
Whatever people want to talk about, I'm down. I'm down. I'm an open book, as we talked about on the first episode. I'm pretty sure Jordan is at least a little bit, but I'm very transparent.
Hell, you can be transparent to a point.
Hell, you can ask me crazy shit, and then Jordan will just react to whatever the weird shit I say.
It's good stuff.
But anyway, that's all for us, guys. Again, seriously, thank you very much. Be good to each other. Take care of each other out there. I really hope that this piece of advice is dated soon. But as we are in September of 2020, if you go outside, wear a fucking mask.
Please.
We need to get these fucking numbers down so we can get back to a normal of some sort. And just, like I said, truthfully, be good to each other out there.
One thing from me. For those of you who like colder weather, now is your time to bring out those jeans and sweatshirts. Because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, when I was walking up here and when I was outside earlier today, it was jeans and sweater weather outside. It was fantastic.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's all for me. So, yeah, be safe, love each other, and wear a mask.
See you guys. Peace.